Now for this last type of lid, this is one where you seal up the pot completely and then you cut the lid. Now this one is, again, on a round one, and it's got some wavy cuts to it so that at least on 4 spots, it's got a different height. And notice on this one, I've got the little marks there so that I know where it comes together. So that can be very helpful. So I've got my extruded piece, it's got the bottom on it, and I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to just kind of gently tap that on the table so that my lip is really nice and flat. It's got some extraneous stuff hanging over there, but it's going to be all right. So I'm going to score that. So just right on top of the lip, I'm going to score. I'm going to add a little bit of slip. Now the lid can hang over or it can be just the size of the piece. I've got a little slab here. I'm going to smooth that both sides. I'm going to set my pot on there. I can do this part before or after. So it's basically like making exactly the same thing on the top. So I'm going to, again, cut. I'm going to use my board to make it a little bit more consistent and have it stick out just a little bit, a little bit wider than the piece. Oops, and don't hit your lid, or in this case, the bottom. Don't forget to put your name on everything. Okay, so that's not actually scored and slipped on there yet. I scored and slipped the pot, but I didn't score and slip the top part. So now though, since I had already slipped, I can see right where that slip line is going to be, where the scoring needs to be for my lid. Okay, so again, I need to score that. And then I'm going to put that on. Check it from different angles, make sure I get that kind of even. I'm going to press in just a little bit. I don't want to deform it, but I want to make sure that it's going to stick okay. And then just like the other ones, I'm going to take my wooden tool, the one that's kind of the wedge end, and the sharpened end on the other side, like a sharpened pencil. Now this one you can have a handle. You don't need a handle on this one. You will also need to go back and clean up the inside, both on the inside of the pot and the inside of the lid. I'm actually going to let the foot kind of do a little flip there on the corner. And I might do that on the lid as well, so it just kind of matches. Now I've got to decide, how am I cutting those so that it's not just a straight cut? If you do just a straight cut, your lid's not going to be very secure. You would need to put a ring on the inside or the outside to keep it secure. So I'm going to take my wood tool and I'm going to very lightly, using the needle tool, I'm going to very lightly, I'm going to take a piece of foam, lay it down, just because my stuff, it's still very soft, so I want to be careful. You could put it on a rolled up towel, or something like that. Again, I need to fix that hole that's in there. So I'm not actually cutting through just yet. I'm just marking to make sure that my lid is going to be consistent. All right, so I know now where that, I'm going to cut apart right there, but I don't want to do just that. So I'm going to set that down for just a second. And I'm going to look in my drawer and see if I've got a quarter or a coin of some sort. Oh, and I do. Okay. I'm going to use basically a circle template, in this case a quarter, and I've got to decide, I'm going to do just a dip, and I've got to decide, do I want that dip in the center? Do I want like each one to be in a slightly different spot? Where am I going to do this? I'm going to do this bump on all sides, but I'm going to use that. On this one, I'm going to have that one go up. I'm going to have the other ones go down. So again, I'm going to go in the center here. Now you can make different shapes and things It doesn't have to be a half circle. It could be kind of a V point. It could be something else. You just don't want it to be a closed shape because then you can't pull your lid up. So if it was like an S curve, you couldn't lift that. So again, this last one I'm going to do going down as well. Again, I'm still not cutting. I'm just marking where it's going to be. So I've got 3 sides where the bump goes down, 1 side where the bump goes up. That way I know that that's where it's going to work. And I just realized I gave somebody the tool that has the sharpened end, like it looks like a spear, kind of, the one with the metal tip. So because I gave that away, I'm going to use this, but I would probably, again, if you've got a T-pin or something like that, it works very well. But I'm going to follow that line across. The tool that's like the spear would work as well. That's what I had planned on using. And I'm going to turn it to the next side. And following that cut, need to make sure I get all the way through the corner. Take your time, don't go too quickly. I should have probably fixed that little bubble hole there already, but I didn't. You can be more free form with this line if you want to. Whew. And then be ready when it actually comes loose. Now that it's cut, you can see it got pretty messy. So I want to do some cleanup on that. And one of the things I want to do is go in and clean up the seam where the lid and the body attach. In the same way on the bottom piece where the foot and the body attach. So you'll clean those up. And actually on the lid, you don't want to do too much cleanup while it's really soft because you'll actually make it so it doesn't fit very well. So put it back on, make sure everything lines up, that it's straight and everything seems good. Adjust your lid, and then you actually want it to dry a little bit. If you're afraid that it's going to stick, you could put a piece of plastic, or even better, maybe a Kleenex or a paper towel, and cut strips or tear strips and line the lip of it, put it back together, make sure that it fits nice, and then actually let it dry until it's about leather hard. If you're doing sgraffito or the carving, you may want to do that before you cut your lid. But again, these are best, the sgraffito is best on leather hard. But you want to let the lid and the body dry together regardless of type, otherwise they may not fit. So this still needs some cleanup, it still needs some love, but that's basically how to do that with the sealed cylinder that you cut the lid off of. But again, adjust it, make sure that it's even and straight and lined up well before you let it dry even to leather hard.